Ayanna Cross stared at the cracked asphalt, the midday sun blasting down on her car. It was a quiet street in a suburban neighborhood of Phoenix, Arizona. Her sleek black SUV, parked under a large cactus, was still, the engine off, the seatbelt securely fastened. She just sent a quick text to her partner about dinner plans, sushi or burgers, but none of that mattered anymore. A sharp voice broke her reverie. "Step out of the vehicle. Now." The voice wasn't composed or professional. It held a certain edge, a harshness laced with more than authority, something darker. Ayanna blinked against the sun, squinting up at the officer standing beside her window. She was a white woman with mirrored sunglasses and an air of arrogance that came from years of power unchecked. "License and registration," the officer demanded, her tone expectant. Ayanna's voice remained even. "Is there a reason you stopped me?" "Suspicious behavior. Someone called in about a woman of color lurking around, peeking into driveways." "That you?" The officer's words were biting. Ayanna tilted her head slightly. She wore a sharp navy blazer and matching slacks, her badge hidden beneath the jacket. "You stopped me for sitting in my car?" The officer's gaze darkened. "You got a problem with that?" With deliberate calm, Ayanna reached into her glove compartment. She could hear a dog barking down the street, and a sprinkler across the way sputtered to life, but at her window, time seemed to freeze. "Your name?" Ayanna asked. "Officer Tina Richards," the woman snapped back. "And you might want to reconsider that tone. Are you planning to search my vehicle?" Ayanna's voice was level, carrying no hint of fear. Richards stepped closer, her breath heavy with gum and bravado. "You bet I am. And if I need to strip search you right here, I will." Ayanna didn't flinch. She simply said, "Do it by the book." Richards barked into her radio. "Unit 15 requesting backup. Code 6, possible narcotics." Ayanna raised an eyebrow. "You haven't even asked what I'm doing here." "I don't need to ask," Richards shot back. "I can smell it. Whatever you're on, weed, meth, I don't care." She sneered. "You people." The words landed hard, like a slap to the face. Ayanna's expression didn't shift, but her resolve hardened. "I'm getting out of the car," Ayanna said softly. "Hands where I can see them," Richards ordered, a sneer still in place. Ayanna obeyed, her movements sharp and practiced. The officer hadn't realized it yet, but she had already lost control of the situation. "Pop the trunk," Richards commanded. Ayanna pressed the button. Richards rummaged through the trunk, tossing aside grocery bags and clothes, until she paused, holding up a small plastic bag. "Uh-huh. Cocaine," she said, grinning. "Guess you're not having dinner after all." "That's not mine," Ayanna responded coolly. "Tell it to the judge," Richards retorted, her smirk wide. Ayanna's gaze didn't falter. "You just made a huge mistake." Richards scoffed. "You think anyone will believe you?" "They won't need to. It's all on tape," Ayanna replied, her tone calm but steely. "Body cam, dash cam, 2 more inside the car. You're on private property." Silence fell. It was heavy, thick with tension. Neighbors peeked out from behind curtains. A delivery man paused mid-step. Even the dog stopped barking. Then Richard snapped. "Take off your clothes." Ayanna didn't flinch. "Search me, but do it legally." Richard's grin faded into a sneer. "I'll have you in cuffs before sunset. Let's see how your badge helps you then." Ayanna cut her off, voice quiet but firm. "Still want me on my knees? In front of your dash cam." For a brief moment, Richard seemed taken aback. Her jaw twitched. Then, with a sudden burst of aggression, she grabbed Ayanna's wrist. "I said on your knees." Ayanna leaned in, whispering with cold precision. "You're making history, Officer Richards. Just not the kind you'll be proud of." The officer yanked open the car door, fury flashing in her eyes. She barked into her radio, but before the call could be answered, a voice crackled back automatically. "Unit 15, status check. What's your location?" Richards hesitated. Field search in progress. Suspect is under suspicion." Ayanna took a step closer, her presence unshaken. "Still think you're in control?" Richards' mask cracked. She didn't reply. Ayanna's hand slipped into her jacket, slow and deliberate. From inside, she pulled out a badge, gold, gleaming. "Internal Affairs." Her nameplate shone. Richard staggered back. Wait, what? Ayana's voice was steady. You're not just being watched. You're being evaluated. The heat of the Arizona sun seemed to fade from the moment, leaving a chilling clarity in its place. Ayana was no stranger to this kind of reckoning. She had trained for this her entire life. This was just another test. Years ago, in a small Georgia town, Ayana had been 9 years old, clutching jelly beans in her hands, watching as her father, a sanitation worker, was handcuffed and paraded through the streets by a white officer. No charges, just humiliation. That night, she'd promised herself that no one would ever look at her like that. And if they did, she'd make them regret it. She kept that promise. In high school, Ayana raised her hand, not to answer questions, but to challenge authority. She wore her natural curls as a symbol of strength, joined the debate team to refine her confrontations, and studied the system, its flaws, its cracks, and its corruptions. Ayana earned her degree in criminal justice, focusing on psychology, then interned at a precinct where she learned about the abuse of power firsthand. She saw how easily young black men became suspects, how complaints were brushed aside, how officers used their badges as shields for their misdeeds. One officer she reported was reassigned, but Ayana knew it wasn't enough. Power answered to proof, not protests. Her path to internal affairs had been a hard one. The academy didn't want her. Too much of an attitude, they said. She replied with steel determination. She graduated at the top of her class. Her goal wasn't acceptance. It was reform. By 42, she had risen to Captain Ayana Cross of Internal Affairs. She hadn't climbed the ranks to belong. She had climbed to tear it down and rebuild. Time and again, they tried to sideline her, move her to forgotten corners of the department. But Ayana bided her time. She documented. She observed. She waited. Her first takedown was a longtime officer, his file full of buried complaints. Ayana had dug through old footage, found the evidence, and built an airtight case. The officer was dismissed. She was relocated again. But this time, she had a list of names, dates, patterns, names of officers who used their badges as weapons. And Ayana hunted them quietly, without mercy. One such officer was Tom Harris, a charming, press-hungry cop with a dangerous streak. A janitor had found a flash drive, left hidden under a bench. On it was footage of Harris attacking a teenager. Ayana didn't flinch. She built her case with precision, leaving no room for doubt. When Harris fell, the headline screamed. He resigned in disgrace. No pension, no redemption. But Ayana didn't gloat. When she locked eyes with the boy's mother in the courtroom, her heart tightened. Justice was served, but it had come at a cost. Threats, slashed tires, whispers. The cleaner. They called her, but she preferred the reckoning. Her silence was more terrifying than any shout. Officer Richards wasn't an accident. Ayana had tracked her for months, dismissed complaints, missing body cam footage, and harsh treatment of suspects who looked like her. The traffic stop was the result of a year's work. As Richards was driven away, Ayana sat in her car, reaching into the glove compartment for a faded letter from her father. Justice has to be louder than hate. Make sure it is, baby girl. She stared at it, then placed it back and started the engine. There were still names on her list. She wasn't done yet.